Stability is often treated as maturity, as something you earn once you stop taking risks, once you choose the reasonable path, the sensible option, the version of life that doesn't fluctuate too much. And for intelligent people, this framing feels especially convincing. Because comfort often arrives disguised as responsibility, as balance, as prudence, as adulthood. But stability and security are not the same thing. And confusing them is one of the most common ways intelligent people quietly cap their financial future. Not through recklessness, but through choices that feel thoughtful, measured, and entirely reasonable. Most intelligent people don't feel trapped financially, they feel settled. They have predictable income, predictable expenses, a life that functions. Nothing is obviously wrong. And that's precisely the problem. Because financial stagnation rarely announces itself as danger. It presents as normal, as acceptable, as good enough for now. There is no crisis to react to, no emergency to justify change. Only a sequence of decisions that reduce volatility without increasing capacity. And over time, that trade becomes invisible. Intelligent people understand risk. They understand probability. They understand that avoiding all uncertainty comes with long-term costs. This is not ignorance. It's not a lack of financial literacy. The issue is not cognitive, it's emotional. Because comfort doesn't argue with logic, it bypasses it. Comfort speaks directly to the nervous system. It lowers tension, reduces friction, creates a sense of control. And once that state is achieved, intelligence is often recruited not to question it, but to protect it. Here's the paradox. The smarter someone is, the better they become at justifying comfort. Not indulgent comfort, but responsible comfort. The kind that sounds like, this is sustainable. This is a solid position. There's no need to push things. There's nothing wrong with stability. All of which can be true, and still produce stagnation. Because financial freedom is not built by eliminating discomfort. It's built by tolerating a specific kind of it. And intelligence, when paired with a strong need for emotional regulation, often chooses the opposite. Comfort is not passive. It is not the absence of choice. It is a repeated decision to remain within familiar constraints, to prefer predictability over optionality, to prioritize emotional ease over long-term leverage. And most of these decisions don't look like avoidance, they look like responsibility. Staying in a role that pays well enough, declining opportunities that feel too demanding, avoiding visibility because it introduces scrutiny, delaying moves that would increase complexity. Each choice makes sense in isolation, but together they form a pattern that trades upside for calm. Here's the distinction that rarely gets examined. Comfort manages the present. Security prepares for disruption. Comfort minimizes immediate stress. Security expands margin. Comfort reduces volatility. Security increases adaptability. They are not opposites, but they are not the same. And confusing one for the other is where many intelligent people get stuck for decades. Most people don't consciously choose comfort. They choose consistency with who they believe they are. Someone who is reasonable, grounded, not reckless, not chasing extremes. That self-image matters. Because identity quietly sets limits on what feels appropriate to pursue. Certain paths feel not for people like me. Certain risks feel irresponsible, even when they are calculated. Certain ambitions feel excessive, even when they are realistic. Once identity draws the boundary, intelligence rarely challenges it. It explains it. Notice the language that surrounds these decisions. I'm being careful. I value balance. I don't want unnecessary stress. I've already achieved enough. None of this is false, but none of it addresses trajectory. It addresses comfort. And language matters because it frames avoidance as virtue. It allows stagnation to feel intentional, chosen, even wise. Consider a professional who earns well, lives responsibly, and feels constantly almost there. There is no urgency, no collapse, just a quiet sense that something has plateaued. They know they could push further. They also know that doing so would disturb the balance they've built their life around. More exposure, more responsibility, more uncertainty. So they wait. Not because they don't understand the trade-off, but because the current arrangement feels safe enough. And safety, when confused with security, becomes a ceiling. Over time, this pattern compresses options. Income becomes tightly coupled to effort. Flexibility decreases. Decisions become harder to reverse. Not because of failure, but because of comfort accumulation. The life works, but only within a narrow range. And when conditions change, there is little slack. This is how intelligent people end up financially constrained without ever making a bad decision. Intelligence excels at optimization, but it often optimizes for local stability, not global resilience. It improves the current system instead of questioning whether the system is sufficient. It fine-tunes comfort instead of testing capacity. And because the outcomes are not immediately negative, there is no signal to stop. No obvious mistake to correct. Just a slow narrowing of future leverage. Choosing comfort does not make someone irresponsible. Avoiding instability does not make someone weak. These patterns are human, especially among intelligent people who value control and coherence. But comfort is not neutral. It shapes the range of futures that remain available. And when comfort is mistaken for security, intelligence often becomes the very thing that keeps the pattern intact. Most intelligent people don't lose money by taking risks. They lose it by protecting comfort they never priced.